into Manresa Road, but we're then going to turn on to King's Road, which back in the 1960s was the coolest place on the planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, weirdly enough, straight ahead, can you see this this derelict site?
Oh yeah.
It used to be a hotel with a casino in the basement and a nightclub. The nightclub was called Blazes, and that was once a place where a lot of the coolest bands played. Yeah, for example, that was the first place Jimi Hendrix Experience played.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the first. It was a place where Yes got a record deal.
All right.
It was the first place in Britain that the Byrds played in 1965.
Yeah.
And interestingly too, it was the place where Brian Jones, you know, the original,
The Rolling Stones, yeah.
he got into conversation with a News of the World reporter, and he told him all about the drugs that were available, you know, in 1965 in London. He then told the guy that his name was Mick Jagger,
Oh.
and it appeared a couple of weeks later on the front page of the News of the World about
Right.
how drugs were everywhere.
Yeah.
The Met Police were so embarrassed they started busting all rock stars.
Oh yeah.
Which is why they spent so much time trying to pin down the Rolling Stones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually they got them, and they were sentenced. Keith Richards and Mick were sentenced to a year in prison, and they got out of that.
Really?
And they also started busting the Beatles and so on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just nipping down into Chelsea. If you own one of these houses on the left hand side, yeah, they haven't got much in the way of gardens, so you also get a key to the green space in the middle of the square, so you've got like your own private park. Yeah. Okay, so this is we're just on the edge of Chelsea now. If you're looking for a house here, you're talking between £5–10 million. Yeah.
Got a bit too.
Yeah. Crossing Fulham Road. You know, if you're interested in shows like Made in Chelsea, this along the bars of that road, that's where all the cast hang out. Yeah. So this is Chelsea. This is a very upmarket
Nice.
part of the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're, I tell you what I'll do. If you're interested in this stuff, let's pop down to Eric Clapton's house. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You arrive at your destination after 200 yards. Turn left, A3217, Kings Road. Then turn left.
I don't need the sat nav now. So yeah. So the road that we're just going across is the King's Road. Yeah.
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 And I'm going to take you to a place where rock stars still hang out. Yeah.
Yeah.
They still hang out. But back in the 1960s, this part of the world was fairly cheap to live in. It's clearly not cheap anymore.
I know there's been a bit of spat, hasn't there, between Brian May and Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
He called him an imbecile, his anti-vaxxer.
Yeah. Well, Eric's always, he was in trouble, you know, back in the day for racism, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, which is weird when he played, you know, he's
Blues
playing
and stuff.
That's
Yeah.
what he's just playing
Yeah.
black
B.B.
music,
King and all
Yeah,
that.
you
that's
know?
right, yeah.
So it's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
but Eric has always, well, for 90% of his time as a musician, he's always had a place in Chelsea. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also got a big estate down near Guildford where he was born, but he's always kept a London place, and I'll show you weirdly enough, one of the places we were going to associated with Queen also has a big Eric Clapton link as well. But there you are. As long as we get over this road, it's only about 100 yards down the road. Do you want to take any photos?
Yeah.
I've got my camera as well.
Okay, well I'll stop. You can jump out and take a photograph of Eric's place. Yeah. Let's have a look. I'll just park up here. We can jump out for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a few photos, and if you're interested in this stuff, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
So let's just stop here then for a moment. Yeah? Okay then, let's jump out. I don't know which football team you support.
Manchester United.
Pub across the way, that's owned by Frank Lampard.
All right.
Okay, this is CD.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Back in the 60s, this was the coolest recording studio in London, called Sound Techniques, and it was an old dairy. So it's
Yeah, hence the cow. Yeah.
It's got a sloping floor, slate floor, ceiling. Yeah. So some enterprising sound engineers thought it'd be a great studio. So this is where Jethro Tull recorded their first album. Pink Floyd. This is where they recorded their early singles. This is where David Gilmour was introduced to the band. You know, when they were putting out Sid Barrett. Fairport Convention. Jimmy Page played lead on Al Stewart's album. They were all recorded here. So this was cutting edge. But when the price of the lease went up, you're going to have to help me out here. I've got a senior moment. Def Leppard lead guitarist.
Sheffield near us, yeah.
Yeah. So what was his name?
It's not Phil Collins.
No.
Steve.
Yeah, Steve. But I've lost the name.
Yeah.
This is where he lived. This is where he died of an alcohol overdose.
All right.
Back in 1992. Weirdly enough, his parents just kept the place as it was for 10 years. He didn't get his last drink across there because they stopped serving alcohol about a year before. So he got his last vodka about a mile down the road at a pub. So really sad story. He was a fine guitarist.
Yeah.
And what I promised you,
Well, was it one of the biggest rock bands in the world at one time?
Yeah, they were. And particularly in the US.
Yeah.
So 36A. This is Eric's London house. Okay. Every so often, you know, he comes out in his Porsche, he'll wave to us.